What's an organization that everyone thinks is respectful, but is really just scamming or spreading propaganda? Mothers Against Drunk Driving. They picketed a house in my old neighborhood after the son crashed his car drunk, killing himself and his brother. The daughter, who was 14 or so at the time, had to sit in her house and read signs from these nut jobs that ripped apart every member of her family the day after her old brothers died. They stood outside that house on 5 different occasions. Still no idea what they thought they were doing. Autism Speaks. Around 2% of funds that they get actually go towards autism stuff, and their head has actually said that euthanasia is preferable to living with autism. There aren't any actual autistic people on their staff, and they're big proponents of the "oh, it's such a sacrifice to live with my poor disgusting broken child" mentality. They're basically the Peter of autism. I've previously read that the Wounded Warrior Project gets tons of money, but the vast majority of it now gets used for people's overblown salaries, parties, and they have become more of a business by selling gear on the internet than actually helping wounded warriors, their target group. Jehovah's Witnesses. On the surface they present themselves as a whiter than white, harmless, friendly and well-meaning organization. Behind the curtain they are quite different. It is a high control cult that controls the tiniest aspects of its followers' lives, right down to how they dress and what entertainment they are allowed to watch. They have a problem with child abuse at an industrial scale. They shun those that want to leave, which tears apart families. On top of that, behind the smiles, when they stand on the street with their carton message of good news, is the sincere belief that if you don't accept it, you will soon die at Armageddon. They believe at Armageddon billions of men, women and children will be murdered by God for the crime of not being Jehovah's Witnesses. And they can't wait. College textbook industries are scam central. They charge crazy fees, sometimes will put fake titles, like Drive, and have more official sounding last names, so you think it's written by someone who knows what they are talking about, and rearrange the information in the book to say they got a new edition when really the amount of new information is little at best. PETA euthanizes most of the animals it rescues that are completely healthy, despite constantly protesting animal shelters that only euthanize the most dire of cases or none at all. Greenpeace once convinced the people of Zambia not to accept food during a famine by telling their government it was poison just because it was GMO. This was the worst famine in decades. A lot of people died, and that would have been preventable, but the US sent them a lot of food that went on to rot in warehouses because Greenpeace didn't want people to eat it. Fucking funeral companies. They try to exude class and respect, but they literally guilt you into spending thousands of dollars to put decaying flesh into a hole. It's obscene. That said, I hope to be buried in a coffin made from solid gold. That was a joke, by the way. No Greenpeace. They're disingenuously anti-nuclear, really only doing it because RADIATION equals bad, nuclear equals radiation, therefore nuclear equals bad, rather than any nuanced and respectable reasons, which there really aren't, unless you're a fucking NIMBY. Modern nuclear plants are the safest they've ever been, and even Fukushima took a massive earthquake and tsunami to make meltdown. And the aftermath of that still pales in comparison to Chernobyl, which was a ramshackle Soviet plant run on duct tape and hope. They're also disingenuously anti-fusion. The quote nuclear fusion has all the problems of nuclear power, including producing nuclear waste and the risks of a nuclear accident. Was also on their website for a time as well, but now it is mysteriously gone. Maybe because it is completely fucking stupid. But seriously, Greenpeace, fuck off with the "it's pointless because we say so" multitasking with government funding is bad. Not outright evil, but misleading. Locks of Love does not solely donate wigs to kids with cancer. They mostly sell wigs to kids with alopecia, an autoimmune disease that causes hair loss on a sliding scale based on family income. A lot of the hair they receive is also thrown away because for one or several reasons it can't be used. That said, kids with alopecia absolutely deserve to get a free or low-cost wig. Just don't donate with the idea that it's exclusively for kids with cancer. If you want to donate hair to kids with cancer specifically, try a place like Street Baldric's instead. Also, before you do, check that your hair can actually be used for wig making, long enough, healthy, etc. Edit it looks like Locks of Love has updated their website to include the information that they mostly supply wigs to kids with alopecia. Great. I'm glad they've updated it to their front page, where it's easily visible. They could still improve by stating that the wigs are sold based on income and are not free in most cases. Help for Heroes in the UK. They have a charitable side that does some good work, which should be provided by the state anyway, but that's another matter. But they also have a shadier business side that takes care of all the merchandising and branding and pays some pretty ridiculous salaries. Herbalife. That thing is fucked up. I ain't no economist, but I can clearly see how they are doing harm to people, and this people harm others without knowing. The thing that really tears my soul is that they are willing to fuck up the poor who just want some extra money and the expense for their asses to be more rich. But, man, that is how the world works, but that doesn't mean it is right. Yelp. If you don't buy advertising from them, they will hide your good comments. I know someone who buys ads from them, and they have tons of reviews, good and bad. All their bad reviews are not recommended hidden. I don't buy ads from them, and I only have 5 reviews for my business, all positive 5-star reviews, but all are hidden except one. Also, they hound me, calling me all the time to advertise. I know that if I advertise, all my positive reviews will magically come out of hiding, because that's what happened a couple years ago when I did advertise. I had 2 reviews then and both showed, but as soon as I stopped advertising, suddenly only one showed, even if I got more reviews. I'm not a big fan of wreaths across America. They are known as the organization that gathers volunteers to lay wreaths on the headstones of cemeteries across the country, most notably Arlington Cemetery in DC/VAB. The executive director is Karen Worcester, who started and runs the program. Most, if not all, of the funds to pay for the wreaths being laid are paid by donations to the organization, and the people laying the wreaths are volunteers. In DC, they have thousands of people volunteer each year. The problem is, all of the wreaths that are used are purchased from the same company in Maine, Worcester Wreath. The company that owns the wreath business also runs a non-profit. So although they may be doing good, all of the donations they elicit are being funneled right back into their own pockets, and I'm really not okay with that. Feminism is now a scam. When the internet caused print media such as newspapers to die out, the liberal media started filling their pages up with feminism. Everything from politics to fashion to feminist film reviews. Why? Because it's a vertical marketing media scam. It provides women with a problem, and then the solution. Problem: women are getting plastic surgery on their genitals. This proves that women are under terrible pressure in the patriarchy. Solution: more feminism. Read this paper again tomorrow. In reality, women would be totally unaware of their inequality if it wasn't for these feminist media. Major mainstream newspapers now publish outright lies because of feminism. Women earn less than men for doing the same job is the most common lie. Or anything about misogyny, patriarchy, rape culture, or those other made up words that exist purely to spread anti-male propaganda. But a lot of people think that feminism must be doing something good, or that there must be feminists out there that are helping women, right? Or that feminism in Western countries must have done something for equality in the last 30 years. Nope, nothing. It's all a total scam. The Anti-Defamation League. They've declared things like PEEP a meme, a hate symbol, which is ridiculous, claim to be non-partisan, while they obviously are, and are hypocrites, like when they opposed allowing Muslim students at Akivine to wear headbands with the Shahada, Muslim declaration of faith. The USTA. For publishing the food pyramid. Depending on your source, this one piece, based on questionable information/research, has been the root cause of misleading the majority of Western society, and may be a major contributor to the current obesity epidemic. Current researchers has begun to implicate high sugar/carbohydrate diets as a danger to human health and fitness, not fats. How a government body associated with agriculture became the source for the basis of American food choice, and by extension the basis for the food pyramids found in many other countries in Western society, is boggling. Ignoring the possible conflict of interest, a department managing a sector that produces vast quantities of high carbohydrate food, advocating for consumption of high quantities of high carbohydrate food. In my experience, the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, they only recommend medications and treatment from companies that have given them big donations. They don't do a hell of a lot in the way of donations directly to millisecond patients, and whenever we called them to discuss a finding such as dozens of people in my wife's hometown diagnosed with milliseconds, they didn't care. Another one is the United Way. Their CEO is the highest paid executive out all non-profits. The United Way gathers a bunch of CEOs together for expensive dinners and offers them free shit, vacations, etc. if they get people in their company to donate to them. That's why a lot of companies have a United Way campaign. Your CEO wants his free week in Hawaii. British Council. They were set up as a propaganda resource of the British government to fight against communism and fascism. This was so well known that various colonial administrations didn't want them operating within their territory because it would look bad if they used such famous propaganda material in schools within British-owned territory. Now they are one of the biggest providers of English language teaching and resources in the world.